All right, what is up, everybody? Scott Brio back again. We're going to do a different thing this week. It's going to be a new series, I think, that I'm starting. We're going to call this Scott Talks Audio. So basically, I'm just going to talk about various audio things as far as, making your mixes better, mastering, acoustics, gear, kind of all that stuff. But we're just talking here, right? So I've got a list of bullet points and some various topics, and we're just going to go through them. And, hopefully this will be helpful for you and you can learn something from it. So we're going to talk about why monitors are not why your mixes suck. Back in the day, it was probably 8 or 12 years ago, my buddy bought a pair of monitors, and I had been using just kind of crappy, home theater speakers through a receiver, like that you'd find in your parents' house or whatever. And, my mixes were terrible, right? And I knew that it was time to get some decent monitors. And so my buddy had bought a pair and decided that they were too big for him. They were too big for his space. He had a kind of small space. And so he sold them to me. And they were these monitors here, which you can't see, but they are Event BAS 2020s. And Event was around, I think in the 90s and, into the early 2000s. And then they went out of business, and I think they were sold to Rode or something like that. And largely discontinued. Rode now makes the Event Opal line of monitors, but that's it. There's really no support for the BAS or any of the older models. But anyway, so my buddy had bought these monitors and sold them to me, and he bought them for $200, and he sold them to me for $200. He got them on Craigslist, right? And so I had a decent interface. I think at the time I had the Scarlett 18920. I kind of jumped right into a larger format interface, and I was using those, and then I eventually got this Mackie Big Knob, which I still have here, and basically I've been using them ever since. And it's been 8 or 10 or 12 years, and along the way, I will say I was very tempted by Gearspace and Facebook posts and friends, and just seeing videos on YouTube. I was very tempted to buy some better monitors, right? There's lots of really nice ones out there you can get for a whole different variety of prices. You can get M Audio has great ones. You can get the Kali monitors. You can get just anything. You go on Sweetwater, and they've got them all the way up to like tens of thousands of dollars. All the way down to a couple $100. And my point is, with this is really that along the way, as I was sitting there with my finger on the buy now button, I realized that buying new monitors is not why my mixes sucked, right? And it was a hard pill to swallow. So I realized that my mixes sucked because I just hadn't spent enough time working on mixing and mastering. And I had done, a whole bunch of albums, and I felt like I was, at that point I was 12 or 14 years into making music, right? And mixing and being an audio engineer, and even had gone to school for audio engineering. But ultimately I realized that buying new monitors was not going to be the thing that made my mixes better overnight. I just knew that it wouldn't. And so what I did was I just decided to stick it out and work with these. And now here we are. I've been making music and being an audio engineer since about 2001, and now I'm a mastering engineer as well, and also electronic music artist myself. And basically these things are fantastic, and I see no reason at this point to really upgrade, unless someone hands me a winning lottery ticket tomorrow. I don't think I would upgrade. And even then, I don't know that I would get rid of them, because there's something to be said for having monitors for a long time, a monitoring setup for a long time, and knowing it inside and out, right? So I know these monitors very well. I've had them in a number of different houses and apartments. They've always kind of been here on the same desk that I made a while back, around the same time that I got these things. And using them now, I get fantastic mixes, and I can even master on them. And I get fantastic masters that translate to basically everything. iPhones, earbuds. I work at Halcyon nightclub here, and I frequently will take my mixes and my masters, my own and my clients, and take them down to Halcyon and test them on the Pioneer XY sound system, which is one of the best in my opinion. And they translate perfectly. And so, this theory was really solidified once I started working at Halcyon a number of years back. And I had, once I started there, I had immediate access to a sound system that basically never changed, day in, day out. Basically, everything in there is set up and locked down, and you really can't mess with EQ settings. You can't mess with, all you can do is adjust the volume, basically. You can swap out mixers and CDJs. But the tuning of the system is locked in place, and all the speakers are hung, and they're permanently installed, basically. So, and also spending a number of years working there and knowing the room and knowing how it's spending countless hours listening to DJs from all around the world play there. And listening to millions of records being played through that system, it really helped to solidify my system of making a song, mixing it, mastering it, and bringing it in to Halcyon to listen to it and check it, as well as my car, and as well as earbuds, and check it on the phone, that sort of thing. So that's the biggest point. It's also basically a pro, myself or any of the other mixing and mastering pros out there. They can mix and they can master an album on better than 99% of the population on severely compromised setups, right? So even on crappy monitors, you could bring a laptop into a car, I'm sure, and plug it in with the aux cord. And a pro mix engineer could probably get a better mix than an inexperienced novice, right? And that just goes back to the point that experience, and sometimes you could feel like, well, I've been doing this for 10 years, I should be stellar. And sometimes you can be, right? Sometimes people get lucky, or they're just savants and they're really good. But for most people, it can take 15 years. I've been doing this for 20 years now. Or more, and now I'm to the level where I can hear 1 decibel of gain difference or EQ bump or anything like that you need to be a mastering engineer. And so spending time and mixing or mastering, if that's what you're going for, countless albums and songs is the best and only way. You really can't. You can't fast forward this. You can't buy your way into that skill, fortunately. Additionally, having a setup, right? So these headphones, I've had these headphones for a number of years, as well as these monitors, and I know what Apple earbuds sound like, and I know what Halcyon sounds like, and I know what my car sounds like. And having those in place that kind of are static and they don't really change, and you can compare and contrast your mixes between all of them. And you could say, well, I know on these monitors, sometimes if it sounds like there's enough bass, because these are 8-inch woofers, right? Maybe that usually means that my mixes have too much bass. So meaning that if it sounds like there's just not enough bass in my mixes, I know it's perfect, because then I can take it to the other places, and on my car, it sounds perfect. And the Halcyon, it sounds perfect. So kind of knowing the deficiencies of your various monitoring setups as well. Proper placement, having proper placement is good. One thing I like to do, and you're not going to be able to see all of this, but I like to extend my arms, and having that 3-way triangle setup that is in basically all the articles about mixing positions. And you set up your monitors at ear level, and what I like to do is I like to sit where I normally would sit, and I extend my arms, and I just touch gently touch the middle of the woofer. And so that way I know I can get a nice triangular shape out of my my mixing setup. And it's worked great. It's worked fantastic. So, maybe try that. Make sure that your, monitors, I always put the woofers on the inside, if your monitors are sideways like mine are, and tweeters on the outside, because the bass is in the middle, right? So when you mix bass comes from the center, from the middle of your mix, and other stuff can be on the outside. So it's important to put the monitors on the inside. Additionally, mixing at low volumes, right? So a lot of us these days are, and I'm going to do another video on like acoustics and stuff, but for right now, we're just talking mixing. Mixing at low volumes is very important, right? Because, especially with electronic music, the studio is now in our homes, and it kind of has always been in our homes. Electronic musicians never really went, sometimes they would go to big studios, but for the most part, electronic music was all about making it in your home, and then sending it out there into the world. And so mixing at very low volumes, like volumes that if someone was talking in the room to you, you would not be able to hear over. You wouldn't be able to hear the music over their voice. That's what we're talking about. Because then what you're not getting is the interference that your room might be imparting, right? So I do all of my mixing and my mastering. Of course, I'll turn it up every now and then, but for crucial decisions, I will turn my monitoring setup down very, very low, and just to where you can barely hear it, and listen for what stands out. Because at those levels, you can really start to hear what's obviously too loud, right? So give that a try, and just further to my point, my roommate, Rifa, if you're not familiar, he's a house producer, producer and DJ. He's fantastic, and he has a pair of Yamaha HS8s, and he has a setup similar to mine in his room, and he makes, dope house music that's played all over. He sends his tunes out, and DJs play it all over the world on big setups and at Halcyon, and he doesn't have a crazy expensive setup. He doesn't have crazy expensive monitors. But he's still able to get, a very, very good sounding mixes that translate well. And so that's kind of, the point of this video is throwing money at a problem is rarely the best solution. So if you are, looking at getting new monitors, and, if you have spent a number of time and you really do feel like you are to the place where it's a worthy upgrade, then I would, you could do that. But again, there's no harm in getting older monitors, right? So I have 2 pairs of these Event BAS 2020s. I have a pair in my living room that is used for my DJ setup, but they're just fine, and so maybe don't always jump to just buying the newest ones out there, because there's lots of good stuff, secondhand, and the more stuff you buy secondhand, the more stuff you can buy in general, right? Like if I had spent the original $1,600 on these Event BAS 2020s back in the day, it's a lot less money that I would have for synthesizers and drum machines and microphones and all that other stuff, computer parts and yada yada. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Check out my other videos. I do I do product reviews and all that. I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to try to do as many of them a week as I can. So anyway, this is Scott Brio, and I will talk to you all on the next one. Peace out.